Alright guys, so at some point you're going to have to replace your insert for your lathe tool, just like on the mill. They get damaged, broken, or they just get built up with material. And so if we take a close look, it's kind of hard to see, but the cutting edge of this corner right at the point is broken off. And so this one needs to be either rotated or changed. Now if I look at the top of this, it looks like that's the only corner that's been used so far on this insert. So I can use other sides of this insert. And these inserts are a little different than the mill. If you notice, the actual insert itself is straight across, whereas the milling one was on an angle. What that means for us is we can use both sides of the insert. So I have 2 sides per corner to use, so that's 6 sides in an insert versus the 3 on the mill. In order to change these tools, you're going to need 2 different size Allen wrenches, and I have them right here. They're basically the smallest 2 in the set. All you have to do is loosen up this clamp. There's a clamp on the top, and then there's a screw that goes through the middle. So the clamp just gets loosened. You do not have to take it all the way out. Once it's loose, the clamp will slide off to the side, just like that. And then you can use the smaller Allen wrench to loosen up the screw in the middle. Now, if you feel like the screw in the middle is stripped out and it's not working for you, sometimes that happens, you can actually go in from the bottom. The screw is also right there. It's one solid screw though. So if you think of lefty-loosey from the top, when you go from the bottom, you'll actually have to do righty-tighty, and you'll be pushing the actual screw out. You guys can see it start to open up the gap right there. So either way, top or bottom should work just fine for you. It's just a matter of if one side's kind of stripped out and needs to be helped from the bottom, but it works both ways. Okay, so I have this screw out, and what you'll see when I take this out is that we actually have several components right here. So I have the actual insert, okay, where we're going to be doing our cutting, so I'm going to rotate it to a good cutting edge, make sure that's nice and clean. I have the screw that holds this down, and then I have a spacer right here. Looks kind of like an insert, but it's not a cutting edge or anything, so don't mistake the two. You'll also notice the hole going through the spacer is bigger than the hole going through the insert, so that's another way to tell. So basically what you want to do is go ahead, get everything off, cleaned out, no chips in there or anything. Make sure it's all nice and clean, otherwise you'll be sitting up on a burr or a chip. You want to get your spacer and your screw together. Now the screw has to go in one specific way. It's very difficult to see this unless you're close up, but if I put the screw in from one direction, what you're going to see is that it sits on top of the actual spacer, whereas if I put the screw in from the other direction, it sits into the spacer. That's the way we need it. We need it to sit into the spacer. So I have the spacer, I have the screw. I'm going to go ahead and get the spacer down on the bed of the holder. Put the screw through there. Now you can start to tighten it up, but then I wait until I get the insert on. So the insert actually just slips right over the top of that screw. The screw is mostly to hold that spacer down in there. I'm going to make sure I have a good side up. I'm going to go ahead and slide that on. Make sure you don't have any gaps between them. They have to be tight. And then you're going to go ahead and tighten down the screw for the spacer. And they don't have to be really tight, just snugged up like that. You're going to put the clamp back over the middle and tighten the clamp down. And that's it for replacing the insert for these turning cutters. Now if all 6 sides are bad, you're going to have to replace the actual insert. I was able to get away with just rotating it. So now this insert or this tool is ready to cut on the lathe.